Welcome back to Smee's Encounters. Here is part 2 of Garage Built Rig. This is Christopher's big jacked up f350 chassis 60. Part 2. Nothing couldn't all fit in part 1, so I've put it into 2 parts. Here's the interior and engine bay. Thanks for watching.
Motor actually sits pretty long. I'll find you the car is pretty high, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, but I did keep it as low as I could get it. Yeah. If you look, she's drag links just clearing the sump, so I wanted centre of gravity as low as I could get it. Okay, it's a full drive, it's high anyway, but you can help it out.
You can try and keep the mass weight as low as possible for the on-road stuff.
That's the one. You know, steel rims, weight down, big divs, weight down. Those rock sliders, they're heavy, weight down. It's surprising that it actually drives really quite well. Which is good.
So, what's done to the 5.9?
5.9. So she's original 12 valve, 1997 12 valve, so the second last one. P pump.
Yep.
So what's done to it? It's only had the head off it, and it's been O-ringed to hold more boost.
Right.
That's it.
So it hasn't had studs?
Oh, sorry, head studs? Yes. You know more about them than me.
Oh, I'm just looking at them.
Yeah.
They look like ARPs.
So, ARP head studs, 60-pound valve springs, O-ringed head by Matthew at Double Duty Diesel.
Yep.
He flew up from Sydney and did it. Yeah, amazing guy to find. I was so fortunate to find him, and his knowledge of 12 valves is incredible. So, and he's an importer, so I brought both turbos from him.
Yep.
And all the 12 volt parts I get from him. But one of the biggest things I get from him is the knowledge.
True.
Oh,
It's hard to find people with the right knowledge of it.
no one knows about performance 12 valves in Australia.
Yeah.
People think they do, but most don't. Yeah. So it's not a Toyota motor. It's a Cummins. Good oil pressure. It's got a tiny little bit of blow-by, but not a lot. Yeah, so motor-wise, that's... so injectors.
Yep.
It's got big injectors in it, all 514s. It's got delivery valves, bigger delivery valves in it. It's got power-driven diesels AFC Live, which is a misconception. They are a detuner, not an adder.
Righto.
So you fuel it, get everything in at maximum, then you put the AFC Live on it and you wind it back so that you can drive around town.
Right.
Okay, whereas people think that you wind it up, you don't. Okay, so that helps it not be smoky around town.
Yeah, so you tune it and wind it up for power, and then you detune it for the economical and the efficiency.
That's it. Yeah, and it's an in-cab controller. You just wind it down. So and they work great. Works really well. So twin turbo. So it's got a Borg Warner SEX 372 on the bottom. That's the big one. And then it's got a K27. Borg Warner K27, the top one. I'm not sure the size. I think they're like a 54 mil, but they're equivalent to the original whole set that was on it. Same. Yeah. So it spills up really well. It's got very little lag in it,
Yep.
which is very drivable.
And it's got a chill box top mount.
Yeah. So watered air top mount, and at the moment we've just got a little water bottle in because we're still getting that all working right. I've just cut the inner guards out, and that creates space for a box on both sides. The air cleaner was up the top here, sucking hot air. Now it's tucked over inside.
Pulling it behind the headlight.
Coolant behind the headlight. We'll get a lid on it and let it breathe from the front. So when I went to the Cape, I just had the snorkel hooked in because you're worried about water. The poor thing could not breathe through the snorkel.
Yeah.
It consumes.
Well, your snorkel's only like 3.5 inch.
Yeah.
And that, when you get a lot of power out of a 12 HT, your airbox and your snorkel's the first thing
There you
to
go.
cough them up.
So I did the math on this, or power-driven diesel's done the math on what an SEX 369 turbo will suck, and they're about 900 cubic feet of air a minute.
Wow.
This is about 1100 cubic feet of air a minute. In anyone's language, that's yeah. So you gotta let it breathe.
Right. And you've got hydro brakes, obviously for the F350 chassis. Needs hydro.
No.
Or you just went hydro.
I went hydro because I wanted it to stop.
Yep.
We're GVM 4.5 tonne, and I wanted it to stop.
Yep.
So I figured that hydro was the best thing, and they are great. Yeah, but it's.
So it piggybacks off your power steer.
Yep, that's right. So you run power steering pump to the hydro
To the steering box.
steer box, and steer box back to the pump. Yeah.
Oh, so you've actually made it where it favours, you want to favour your brakes straight away, and
That's the way they set it up. I think Busted Knuckle or someone does a video on how to install them, and that's the way you put them hydro first.
yeah, that's something the GVM, VDJ Land Cruisers have an option. I'm fairly sure when you go, I think on the 6-wheel drive they have to go hydro.
Yeah, I understand. It's great. Like it's such a feel in the pedal. It just works really, really well. So happy with that.
It all just fits with the factory 6-speed Touchmaster.
Yeah, that was a tight squeeze having the master in there, and
I like it how the turbo out literally comes between them. Like you've literally got like a finger on that side and a little bit more on that side, but she's just off your brake lines. She's tight, but she works.
there's a lot on this side. I was trying to push it over that side, but yeah.
Yeah, well in America everything's on that side.
Yeah, so.
Whereas this side we've got our washer bottles and rad overflow. So you've got alloy rad in here as well?
Yeah, that
Keeps it cold?
way too cold. They're a cold motor. So sort of AU thermo fans on it.
Yep.
The control box for the AU for the thermos packed it in the other day. I don't know if the relay's gone or what's going on, but it's not working. All the way to Melbourne, all the way back, no fan, doesn't get on. If I sit in traffic, stop start for 20 minutes, she'll start to creep a little bit, but it's nothing. A couple of big fuel filters, or one fuel filter and a water separator. So they run 160 gallons an hour. It'll run because it'll chew 120 gallons an hour at full
power.
Yeah, so you got to keep fuel up to it. Like anything, if you want it to go, you need to put fuel into it. So the standard lift pump on these runs 27 pound of pressure to the pump. If you increase that pressure with an electric pump, you'll gain horsepower.
Right.
Just by increasing the pressure. So this has got a 120 psi electric pump tucked up in underneath that I only put on when I really want to put it on. Normal time I don't put it on. And it will give it anywhere between 80 and 100 horsepower more. Just by putting 100 pound up the top. Yeah. And people spend a lot of money on FAS and AirDog and all these pumps, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them, because they work. I got these filters from Matthew. I found the pump online. It comes out of a Volvo Pinta 5.8 litre boat. And
Wow.
it was $99 for the pump. That was it. Whacked it in and hello. Yeah, it's insane. So, yeah, which is really good. The other thing that it's got, which you probably maybe see, so the orange line down there, where the shadow is a bit down the bottom, it runs a 16mm fuel line from the tank all the way forward. Yeah. So you've got to keep the fuel up to it. If you can't get the fuel,
volume.
You need the volume. So the number is 16mm. If you go over that, it cavitates or it does something wrong under that, and it won't feed the fuel.
Yep.
it's got 2 tanks in it, so she carries 210 litres of fuel on board.
So
Without juries.
2 tanks. So they're both Acronos. There's an alloy up under where the factory 75 litre lives.
Yep. Yep. So I don't like the idea of having a tap between 2 tanks. You get stale fuel in one. Taps never work. It just all turns pear-shaped. So I managed to buy a tank and find one that, yes, I brought a tank. I didn't make it. Was second-hand though, and it fitted up underneath the factory one.
Yep.
And I pulled the bung out of the factory one, ran a line into the top of the other tank, and just plumbed out of the bottom of the other tank. So she feeds one filler neck, feeds in the top, runs into the bottom one. The return line goes to a split, which I'll either feed straight into the bottom one if it's empty, or it'll run into the top one in the back. It works. I think what else is going on in the engine bay? I think that's about it.
It's surprising how much is actually in here, considering cutting the guards back actually made you able to fit just that little bit more, which is what you need.
Yeah, it was a great
And
thing.
there's no way you need that big 60 series guard anymore.
Well, it's the hole on the other side. It actually fills it all and makes it look a lot nicer and works quite well. So you can major go to 80 pound. So that's pretty rowdy. It's
A lot of
pretty
party
rowdy.
time.
Sorry.
Fair bit of party time in it.
Fair bit of party. She revs really quick though. That's the thing with the motor. It's got a 4K governor kit in it. So standard rev is 2.8.
Yep.
And I think it runs at, well, I say it's a 4K, but I think they run to about 3.5 or something like that. And that certainly makes it more drivable because it just gets there so quick. You're just changing gears way too quick. So at 30 pounds, she's at 30 pounds it'll beat most. I didn't say that. At 30 pounds, it's nice.
And I bet they hear it when you go past the beach.
Yeah. She's rowdy. That's all I can say is it's rowdy.
So it's also 4-inch out, isn't it? 4-inch
Yep.
out of twins.
Yep. Yeah, so she comes...
Oh, it's actually one into the other, then 4-inch out.
No,
Into
other way around. So she's 4-inch from the turbo,
Yep.
all the way to the diff,
Yep.
and then she splits to 2 3s.
Yep.
Yeah, and then 3s over the back, because I couldn't fit 4 out
Over
the
the
back.
arse.
Yeah, it just wasn't going to fit. 3s fitted perfect.
If you actually look out through the video and some of the other footage we've got, the exhaust actually goes between your chassis and your body, which is actually pretty nice because it just fills that little bit of a hole there in the void.
I hated the hole, and then we put the sauce in, and I'm like, yeah, sweet. That was why I had the hole. You got both. Yeah, you got both handles on it.
We good?
There you go. Nice.
You got up there easy. So inside the car, not much has changed. Surprising. You actually put in a fair bit of thought to make sure the factory 60 shifter and the high floor worked.
It was for me. It was a must to have them in the same place. I wanted to feel like I was still driving a 60.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I pretty much achieved that with it. Don't look underneath. See all the linkages and bits and pieces, extensions.
It works.
It works.
Massive engineering.
Yeah. The air conditioner still works too. So, which is a good thing.
The only thing that's different is obviously an aftermarket head deck and a different clock.
Yeah. So yes, EGT.
Okay.
Yeah, fitted perfectly where the
I was
clock
gonna say,
was. Yeah.
Kind of looks like a clock, but I'm not sure, so I'll go off the clock.
Yeah. So it's EGT gauge. Yeah, which is a must.
Yep. Pretty much the same dash as mine, except for this one has a factory 60 wheel, where mine's got the 79 wheel. I just like a little bit more compact.
Yeah.
So, it's slightly different colour, but it actually suits the aftermarket vinyl I've got in the Ute as well, because I've got new stuff when I built it.
Yeah.
Definitely be keen one day to get these both out on the tracks. This obviously can't go on the track at the moment. It has a gearbox issue. That's what happens when people don't tell you what's got to look out for when you're doing
That's what happens when you're not a mechanic and you don't understand that part should have been done.
Yeah. So,
Annoying.
so it will just stay here in the park. We have been able to move it to beside my ute to get some photos and a couple photos of the height difference, but apart from that, she'll stay put, sitting here locked up and chocked, and when she's ready to go, we'll have to get it out.
Definitely.
Even if you come out to one of the 60 series meets, I'm sure some of the purists will hate that.
It's a 60 series?
Yes, and it's actually registered as a 1976 Land Cruiser.
1976.
Yeah, because they took the year of the chassis.
True.
Took the year of the chassis, but they kept it as a Land
Yeah.
Cruiser. So, technically, it's not a 60, because they didn't make it then. But,
Yeah.
so I think, what is it, 55? Or what did they make?
40.
No, there's one in after that. There's the one before the 60 it's a different thing.
Oh yeah, the Iron Peg, the 55.
Yeah, there you go. It's 55, isn't it? Yeah. So it's yes. So when you go to Autobahn or Burson's or something, then they say, "What's your number plate?" It's like, no, it's not going to work.
Not going to work. As soon as you go modified, you can't do that stuff.
It's not going to that. Yeah.
Is the one bad part about modifying, but it is what it is, and sometimes if you're no good at remembering stuff, you just got to run the book.
That's exactly right.
So, with this, it'd actually be, as I said, it's pretty easy. It's Dodge driveline, Ford frame, and 60 body.
Yeah, it's just knowing the years, and that's
Yeah.
that's fine. You know, the motor's 97. The chassis is. Well, it's not actually the chassis; it's the diffs that you got to work on.
I'm sure in building it, you've thought about it that much, you'll never forget it.
Yeah, exactly right. True.
She's definitely a clean looking car, and it's nice to jump inside something and see that era. Most people, they go changing their interiors when they're doing heavy mods. They get rid of their interiors, like me. Mine's OEM but modified. This is OEM body on modified frame, and it's definitely a weapon. Like, I've seen other videos of it going places, and it goes there quick once it's going, and it looks good doing it.
Insanely quick. It surprises me every time.
Something that you spent way too much money on, but don't regret it at all because it's freaking sick.
So good.
Yeah, so pretty much the whole same interior as mine. This is actually how my car should look, except for I've got different door cards, different seats. I've also got aftermarket headliner because mine was roasted. But this one is actually, it's showing a bit of its age, but it's actually doing pretty well.
It
for its
is.
age.
It's not too bad. But again, that's one of those things that we'll get to eventually. Like, I want to pull the liner out, and there's a tiny little rust hole in the back. I've
60
noticed,
series things.
but I want to get to it and do it properly. Yeah, it's which is the go.
Yeah, it looks nice. And the little knobs, obviously. What's that one?
Okay, so that's boost control.
Yep.
Just party winder up, and this is the AFC Live.
Really?
Okay, so I drive it around town with everything backed off as far as it'll go. She's got a party switch on the side.
Okay.
Yep. So, as saying before, when you fuel it, tune it, everything, so it's at maximum horsepower.
Yep.
You plug the AFC Live in, and then you wind it all back.
For the
Like-
economy.
Yep. And so it doesn't smoke out the back. The party switch on the side simply turns the AFC Live off, and bang, you're back to all. So you don't have to sit there and adjust the knobs
Yeah.
and what have you.
So it's like that video on Fraser where you just come and pass some freight training. That looks pretty slick.
Now, and to understand what I passed, okay, that is a LSA swapped Colorado.
Oh wow.
So she got 500 Newton meters.
Wow.
No, sorry, 500 kilowatts
Oh,
of
killer
power.
with the wheel.
It's no slouch. It's no slouch at all.
Didn't look like it was this slowly motoring along. It looked like it was cruising.
Yeah, so he'll hate me for saying that if he sees this. He loves his Colorado. And look, it's a beast. You know, it'll eat this off the line. Without, it's all over it. They're a good swap. So, but
Yeah, it's a difference between diesel and petrol. Petrol's great for getting there quick. This is great for getting there
yeah,
repeatedly and
and
keep
pulling
going.
the house with you.
Pulling the house behind you.
It's exactly right. And it's an auto as well, so it's got all over it online. But roll and start. Yeah, 30k roll and start. It'll be a different story.
I think that might do it for this video. We might wrap it up here. This might make one, or might make two videos. It'd probably make two videos. So